Okairi Waki Akitachi. Welcome, y'all. Welcome, welcome. I hope you. Oh, sorry, guys. I hope. Oh my gosh. I hope you guys have been having an awesome start to your day so far, and I hope everyone has been doing well. So I'm gonna come out forward and say at the very start, this is gonna be a bit of a different stream. I'm not going to be reading comments as often and chat as often as normal because I'm actually going to be presenting a pretty heavy point here and a bit more of an opinionated piece. It'll probably take like an hour or so, but I'll take moments in between to read, chat, and hear things out. My only ask is if you're either watching the VOD or commenting, pretty please, let's discuss this extremely maturely and appropriately. And it's okay to disagree. It's okay to have opinions. Let's not name call and have full points on everything. That's the only thing that I ask for, because we all love Dragon Ball and we all want to talk about it and see how it grows. So yes, hi to all of you out there, and it will be a bit of a presentation. So this is also my first time ever doing something like this, and I'm not nearly as good as those video essay people that make such good content. So this is going to be my first time kind of actually presenting an opinion and giving more of a review. Like I said, a bit of a different structured live stream, and I'll take times in between to make sure that I read what you guys are saying. Okay. Whew. All right, guys. So I have my notes. I have everything. I spent a lot of time preparing for this. So I watched through all of Daima in 2 days. All of it. And I mean, like, I spent, goodness gracious, like nearly 6 hours on Thursday of this week watching the entirety of Daima. And then I had like 5 episodes left to watch yesterday, and I watched those as well. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm enjoying Daima so far. I really had a great time watching it. I'm gonna have a great time reviewing it because I've been tossing, things on my Twitter. I've been tossing things up on YouTube, all my posts about the things that I enjoyed from Daima. And then I sat down to do some research because I wanted to understand, fan reception and how other people felt about Daima, because fan audiences and audiences in general are still important to consider when doing a review. And I was actually surprised. I was surprised to see how many people dislike Daima. Like it's, I've seen, some people say, I dislike this, I dislike that every now and then. And this was the first time that I saw so many people say, Daima stinks, Daima stinks, Daima stinks. So as any good content creator, I sat down and I started thinking to myself, well, why? Why do people dislike Daima so much? What is it about Daima that made it so different? And that's what led to the title of this video, as well as everything that I'm going to present in this video. So, first and foremost, the introduction here is done. Oh my God, I was not prepared for this. Hold on. Why the hate? And why I believe Dragon Ball Daima is the absolute worst show to come out for DBZ fans. All right, so to start this, I've got quite a bit of stuff that I'm going to be introducing here. I have a bit of points to make. Then we'll go through each of the episodes and I'll talk about things that stood out to me, things that I really liked, and then we'll finish with a great finale on every single point that I've made so far. So, my very first and foremost point. Again, just all of these comments that I saw on Daima being bad, it's just goodness gracious. And like I said, it's not just Twitter, because originally I'm just surprised by how many people were just saying Daima is bad. Twitter is one place that you see that just in general, and the likes on these posts were actually pretty high. So it's not like it's a one individual saying one thing. And again, even a Reddit post with that many upvotes is surprising to me because this is an extremely controversial thing to say during a time when hype was so high. So there's a lot of people who did not like Daima, and that's what ended up leading me to wanting to spend some time to review this. I'm out of order with my slides. You'll have to bear with me, but here we go. Okay, so my very first point. Is Daima a bit of a kids show? Genuinely, I believe Daima is built to be a lot more like a kids show. They don't have the strongest continuity, and there's some points where you have to suspend a lot more disbelief. It's definitely made with a lot more of Toriyama's humor in mind that he used in Dragon Ball. But I believe you could either say either one, kids show, Toriyama's humor. I do believe Toriyama had a humor that was a lot more aligned with kids. Sporadic, fun, jumpy things, and having just overall like humorous moments in between these intense fights that we would have. Like Goku being like, oh, I'm hungry, ha ha ha. Like, it's stuff that we found very funny. Now, I don't believe that just because it's a kids show means that that's a bad thing. Kids shows are not for just kids, and they're not derogatory either. Consider the concept of like a show like SpongeBob, or consider a show like Avatar, The Last Airbender. These were kids shows with very much that kid humor, haha, silly moments. But they still knew how to incorporate more intense, important moments. And Daima doesn't fall short of doing that. There are quite a few moments there where as a kid, you'd be like, hey mom, what the heck is bleep? And we'll get to that during the episode. But it's not afraid to incorporate important things, such as the almost power struggle in there, in like the show in Daima itself. And people would kind of be like, wait a minute, that's not a kids show topic, but it is. Kids show, just because a show has more intense adult and real world themes does not mean it can't be a kids show. It's just packaged and presented in a bit more of an easily digestible format. However, the humor in a kids show, as well as how pacing is designed, is usually a lot more jumpy and a lot more silly. So that's why I genuinely believe that we could call Daima more of a kids show. Now, that's one of my first points. We're going to move into my next point, and I want to actually compare all of the entries of Dragon Ball as a series. So, a lot of people, at least in the States, around the world, generally know Dragon Ball Z. I know Dragon Ball Z. Y'all know Dragon Ball Z. Japan knows, everyone knows Dragon Ball Z. I didn't have space for Super and GT, but I'll still talk about them briefly. I haven't watched much of Super and GT. I just know about some core concepts of it. So Dragon Ball itself was a very silly mystical adventure and kind of like a retelling of Journey to the West. It's loosely retold as Journey to the West, but it's still pretty much like that, you know. Boy goes out on an adventure, collecting mystical balls, trying to get the wish, all of that. It's full of silliness, it's full of hard and awesome fights. It's a great time. But the thing is, Dragon Ball still had a lot of the intense fights that we'd see in Z. One of the ones that stands out in my mind is the Demon King Piccolo fight. Oh my gosh, the amount of struggle Goku went through to defeat DKP was insane. But you could still see a lot of the humorous moments we saw in Daima in Dragon Ball itself, which is why a lot of people say it's Toriyama's humor that really is prevalent in Daima. Z, oh, and also one thing that to also highlight is in Dragon Ball, there's also a lot more weapons too. Goku's power pole, Muten Roshi's staff, guns as well from the Red Ribbon Army, all of that. Oh, and Bulma's gun too. Her LR version in Dokkan uses a machine gun. So, Then we move on to Z. Z actually removes a lot of weapons. You almost never see Goku have his power pole, unless movies, but movies actually don't even really count because they're almost like its own entire separate entry. There's no mangas that the movies were based off of. Doesn't mean they're bad, they're just entirely different. So no, in Z, the only person with a weapon was Trunks, and that's why Trunks was so cool, right guys? That's why we love Trunks. He was the only person with a sword. He was the only person with the weapon. But no, it's mainly fist-to-fist combat, these hardcore fights, and just a little bit of, you know, a little bit of that kid show humor, that Toriyama humor. But Z overall was focused on these fist-to-fist fights, these raw, high-energy battles with rock music playing in the freaking background. They were so cool. Okay, they were so cool. We were sitting there like, oh my god, holy. And one of the best representations is going to be the Broly movie for me. You guys know I gush about the Broly movie. I love the Broly movie. And it essentially embodies what I think Z was like. Raw, intense fights, people getting smacked down, bam, 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 awesome animations, ki blasts everywhere, holy heck! And Z only had some of these small humanizing moments and humorous moments in between. It was about the fights, it was about the energy that was put out. And then we get to Daima, which is entirely different. Daima actually removes a lot more of the fighting that you would even see in Dragon Ball and Z, and focuses on very short, cool moments, but has a lot more lore, world building, and humor in it. Now, some people could criticize Daima for saying that its world building and retconning creates a bit of problems sometimes. Like, you have to sit back and suspend some disbelief, which is actually where I can make another point regarding Super, but I'll get into that later. We can also even take a moment to just listen to the difference in music. Dragon Ball, a lot more mystical. Z, hardcore rocking music. Daima, journey, mystical adventure. And then Super is a lot more digestible because even in the JP version, Super had high energy rock music. Genkai Topai Survivor, Limit Breaker, Blizzard, you know, these are like boom, 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 high energy musical songs. Heck, even Frieza, the song Frieza. Though that might be Z. I'm actually not entirely sure on that one. I just remember hearing it with Dragon Ball Super during Resurrection F, which makes Super one that has a bit more of the Dragon Ball humor than Dragon Ball Z, and but still retains a lot of the fights that Z has and the rocking music, a lot more love of Dragon Ball Super. Now, I want to get into a bit more depth with Dragon Ball Z. I know I gushed about it a little bit, but Z is actually a big part of this video in why I believe all this hate is coming forth. Let's think about Z. Like I said, you had these hardcore, raw, intense, high energy fights, strength breaking the ceiling, people screaming, Super Saiyan, rock music, everything going on in the background. Bam, 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 Kamehameha, like spending all this time on all of these moments that create these beautiful shots, these hardcore fights, and you even have like moments in between during these fights where you have these touching moments. Gohan stands out to so many of us because of the two moments during the Cell Saga. When he first went Super Saiyan, talking about how he was like always just a little kid, always relying on others to try and save him. And then he goes Super Saiyan, knowing he has to stand up for himself, stand up and actually be someone who can help in these fights, not relying on people. Then, Super Saiyan 2. 16 talking to Gohan, and these were in the middle of fights, touching moments in the middle of fights. Z was so heavily, just, how should I put it? So heavily based and more reliant on their fights, which is fine. But you actually didn't see as much of the humor that you would end up seeing in Dragon Ball or in Daima, because Z was made for more of a young adult audience, also considering the importance of the times. During that time period, martial arts was considered really cool. I believe it was right around, right off the back of Bruce Lee, and around the time when more martial arts shows were kind of becoming a cooler thing. So you had these fist-to-fist fights, you had these, you know, even martial arts styles. You see Goku style, you see Vegeta style, and it hit with people that were growing up at the time. Teenagers, young adults, heck, even some older adults. This was the shonen. This was the shonen that everyone knew. Not just, heck, even my grandma Patty down the street probably knew it. Like, oh, I bought my grandson the newest Goku figure. Because of just how big of a spread phenomenon it was. Z was adored. And Z did not have the humor, pacing, and all of that as Daima did. They spent so much time on the power-ups, so much time on the fights, and the raw energy. Now, that's just talking about the differences between Z and Daima in general. But before I move forward, there is a very important point that we have to cover. What are the differences between Dragon Ball Z, Japanese, versus English? And this also embodies the fan bases as well. What are these big differences? So, even when I just searched up for the Dragon Ball Z opening, right? I had the JP opening on the left side. That was the first thing that came up. And the EN version on the right side. And this actually very much helps prove my point here. I believe JP is entirely different than EN. And I did some research to understand Japanese, the Japanese version had a lot of different content that was actually removed in the English version, which might be a surprise because Kai removed it even further, but yes, there was a lot of content cut out. And some people are like, wait, what? As well as the overall branding of Z versus EN. You listen to the Japanese opening of Dragon Ball Z, you get chala, head chala, and then you listen to the EN version of Dragon Ball Z, you get wow, you get this hardcore music going. And the Japanese version also has a big difference in voice actors too for Goku. You have this like, in English, you have this man like screaming, ah, like he's like deep voice, he's manly. That's what you would expect a man to be. Whereas in JP, you have an individual who sounds similar to Sun Kung or Sun Wukong, the main character of Journey to the West. He sounds more like a mystical individual. And I'm not gonna say the word because it's going to get a bunch of Friezas in the chat. Either way, for the context of this, yes, he sounds a lot more like a primate in this case. And it's because that's kind of what Goku was based off of. Wukong, Sun Wukong. That's what he was based off of. So once you understand the differences there with JP and EN, JP was a lot more of a, how should I put it? Mystical adventure. It was branded entirely differently. The opening themes are entirely different than EN, which came out that could resonate more with an English audience, a Western audience. We fell in love with it because EN was like like I said, all that raw energy and stuff primarily applies to En. JP has that too, but there were more silly Toriyama moments mixed in that we don't know about because we got the English version unless people watch the Japanese version. And there might be a couple of you out there who watch the Japanese version. I don't know. I know the wide group of individuals probably watched En though, and that's why when they saw Daima, they were like, holy crud, Dragon Ball after Super is coming back after Toriyama died too. Oh my gosh. But they went in expecting Dragon Ball Super or Dragon Ball Z, not Daima. And a lot of us are used to the English version, not the JP version. You see this change during that time period so often with young adult and kids shows. I have two examples for y'all. Super Sentai versus Power Rangers. The Super Sentai opening is like, you know, high energy, but it's still like fun, fantastic. Whereas the Power Rangers is like someone pulled out a rock guitar in the middle of the stage, beat the red Sentai warrior off the stage and put up with a red ranger costume and just started freaking rocking out. That is the best way that I can put that. The openings are entirely different, despite how Super Sentai was supposed to be the parallel show to the Power Rangers. Another good example is Digimon's Japanese version versus their English version. Digimon, with their Japanese opening, created an entirely different energy than English. English was like cool and like rad with like, oh, change into monsters. And then Japanese version was like this fun adventure for all of these kids. This happens so often, at least during that time period. And I don't think, and I definitely know Z was not, was prone to that change, which is why we got so many changes, why content was cut out, why I was more focused on the fights. Why? Now, with that in mind, I also have another example to bring. This is from Dragon Ball Super. I couldn't find a clip of Z Chi-Chi talking, but oh my gosh, this presents one of the problems that I was talking about. Well, it's not even a problem, you know? One of the things I was talking about between the differences between the English version and the JP version, because they had to keep Chi-Chi's continuity going. Chi-Chi in this scene of Super is and I'll basically describe it. Chi-Chi comes in, she's all mad, Goku, you never take responsibility, all of that stuff. What do you mean you're gonna go off and fight again? But if you listen to the voice actress's delivery, she is very concerned. She loves her husband and she's like, Goku, take some responsibility. I love you, Goku. I love you, but you need to be a better man for your children. Goten is 10 years old and I don't want to lose you. Probably why the future arc, or at least the Future Trunks Saga special, breaks your heart so much, because she lost pretty much everything. But Chi-Chi is all concerned. She's like a concerned but strong wife. If you listen to the English version, it keeps with the continuity of how you listen to Chi-Chi. I watched the Chi-Chi going Kaioken, and she was like, black and blue, rah! When she was going to beat up Marin, Krillin's ex-girlfriend. Chi-Chi sounds like a witch in the English version. She sounds like that she basically represents like the culture that you sometimes see in humors occasionally. When I'm looking at funny posts, you'll see like people talk about girls as like keeping you from being able to play your games, keeping you from being able to do your things, you know. Instead, they, you know, kind of like a witch, overbearing, always asking for responsibility, blah, 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 blah. She talks your ear off like a mom. And so Chi-Chi is represented as that. Sometimes the one who's constantly nagging at Goku, telling him he can't do this, telling him can't do that. Versus in the JP version, she's presented as a concerned wife who just wants him to take responsibility. Because we can say Goku has what's it called? Goku has a problem with responsibility sometimes. That's not a incorrect thing to say. That doesn't mean he's a bad father. He just sometimes neglects his responsibilities. And, you know, we can get into a whole different discussion about Goku being a good father some other time, but we're not there. So, yeah, Chi-Chi is presented way more like a witch in the English version than in the Japanese version. And I think that's extremely important to show kind of that's just one difference. That's just one difference. And the list of differences between how JP is represented versus English is long. I guarantee, guys, Daima English is going to feel entirely different than Daima JP because culturally things are different. I would love if we could get a complete one-for-one in the English dub, but that's never going to happen. They will change how things are presented to be more digestible to a different audience. Now, to even like expand on this further, actually no, I'm not going to bring that point in. That's going to be a bit distracting. Okay, guys, so that's my primary points on Dragon Ball Daima and why I hope I'm painting a decent enough picture here to present, and I know I've been stuttering and falling back, but to present why I believe Z fans don't like Daima. Why I believe it's the worst show for Z fans. If a Z fan were to come up to me and say, hey, I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, but I didn't really like anything else, will I like Daima? I'm gonna tell them no. Daima was not made for you. And it's not to be derogatory, it's like, I don't think you'll enjoy it. Daima and Z are entirely different, like themes almost. If it wasn't for the fact that Goku was on Daima's front cover and all that, and all the characters from Dragon Ball, you probably wouldn't tell me Daima was like Z. As a matter of fact, I was talking to an individual who told me, yeah, I'm watching Daima and Daima is not like Z. Like, you could not tell me this was Dragon Ball because they knew Dragon Ball Z. It felt entirely different. But I do believe the vast majority of people who really loved Z probably won't like Daima. And I can even speak from personal experience. Daima is a lot more like an anime thing. I've had people actually not like some of the stuff I put out because I'm more aligned with anime than Dragon Ball itself. So, you know, I had someone tell me like, "Oh, Z, well, I'm just gonna go because I'm not here for the otaku stuff. I'm here for Dokkan Battle." And it's like, I think that comment is a very good example of how there are Dragon Ball Z fans out there who really don't like the other Dragon Ball content. Because Dragon Ball itself as an entire franchise is still an anime. Z is an anime, but oh my gosh, it feels different than any anime that you would watch subbed. It's different. It's entirely different. And it's why I can have fans in Dokkan and DBL. Why I can have fans who watch my content who are Z fans and say like, I don't really like, you know, anime stuff. That's okay. That's okay to just like Z. It is. And recognizing that is really strong for you. But it leads so much credence to how just because you like Dragon Ball Z does not mean that you're an anime, that you will like all of anime. You like Z, you like the culture that was created, and that's fine, really. Now, that's not to say people who like Dragon Ball Z are going to dislike Daima, you know, that I'm not trying to say that at all. I'm trying to say that a large majority of people who only liked Dragon Ball Z will not really like Daima due to the differences in Daima. It's a lot more like an anime. It has a lot more of Toriyama's humor. It doesn't have these rock magic or these hardcore rock songs that Z had. And the branding of the characters is entirely separate. You've got Goku being silly more than just aloof and oblivious, though I guess you could say they both are aloof and oblivious, but you've got Goku being more of acting the fool at times. And in Z, he's more silly, I just say, a little goofy. All right, guys, so those are kind of my main points. I do believe that Daima was not made for Dragon Ball Z. I believe that Daima was made entirely for, well, Daima in this case. And I can also, there's another point that I have that will help like bring this all together, but we'll get into that later. Okay, guys, so that does it for the first portion of the presentation. I want to take maybe 2-3 minutes. Let's hear what kind of comments you guys have. Again, feel free to disagree with me. Feel free to tell me, you know, your own opinions as well. Feel free to tell me, heck, Hayami, I don't really think you did a good job making the point. I don't mind, as long as you guys give me like feedback. Or as long as you guys like substantiate your points. That's what I ask for during these, during more conversational topics. So, opening up for y'all, reading chat now. Intrigued by the title? Hello, Mr. K. Thanks for stopping by. I know that this title is a bit more surprising. So it's kind of like, wait a minute. I think that another thing that I did see when I peered out of the corner of my eye was a lot of people were like, wait a minute, I dislike Daima? No, not one bit actually. I don't dislike Daima at all. You convinced me, thank you. I actually do not dislike Daima, and that's entirely different than, that's entirely separate from like the points that I would probably be making. My personal opinions I'm leaving to the very end of the stream. I think you present it very well. However, I do think it aligned more with they wanted darker themes in Dragon Ball. You could say that. I do believe Daima had more serious themes instead of just the intense fights. You know, in Dragon Ball Z, the intensity, what to overcome was these fights, these villains. Daima more had something else that you had to overcome, potentially even, or like the family squabble for Shin / Nahare, yada yada yada. Daima being the best looking DB series, the story is very empty. The story is empty. I think that they did jump around a little bit more than you would expect. And I think they tried to cover a little too much at once. I can actually agree with that. Daima is more of a final gift from Toriyama towards OG and GT. More adventure, less action. That's another good point. I actually do agree with that. Let's see. Is the big tonal shift, the large expectations, and the differences in preference are all factors that affect? Yes! Kiyashi, that's exactly the big point that I am trying to make when it comes to Daima versus Z, and why I saw so many people be like, I hate Daima, Daima stinks, Daima's bad. That's the whole point of this entire stream. Also, I would rather have Glorio than Trunks traveling with Goku. Hard statement, but I understand. Demon boyfriend is very high up there. Daima's fine as long as you ignore the plot. I actually don't think you have to. The plot makes a lot of sense, and I'll be talking about the plot throughout this entire episode, going through the episodes. I just think Dragon Ball as an IP has an identity. If you ask 10 people what do they want out of Dragon Ball, ooh, Frax, you bring up such a good point. And I cover that at the end. I will be covering that. Daima could have been... Actually, you know what? Let me cover a brief bit about it. So I had said, you know, each franchise is different. But here's the key thing. Here's the key thing. Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Super, and Dragon Ball Daima. Again, if you watch them, you could say, oh, there's continuity between them. But the way that the shows are presented and the way that the story is presented is entirely separate than other ones. I don't think Dragon Ball has an identity crisis as much as okay, I'm gonna put this in this lens, and for some of you, it might go like blow your mind. Dragon Ball as a franchise can be very akin to how comics are created. Batman, Gaslight Batman, Batman Joker Who Laughs, Batman Dark Knight. Batman is so different in all of these. He has a general personality, but the entire theme of how each and every single world is presented is different. If you think of Goku and Cast as being slapped into almost like how comics do it, different editions. This Batman's different than your other Batman. Holy gosh, it made so much sense for me. It blew my mind when someone presented it like that. Oh my god. Goku and Cast is basically being put into a journey, same world, same individuals with similar struggles, but the entirety of how it is presented is different. Dragon Ball as a franchise is beautiful because it has something for everyone. It does. And I will flesh that out even further. Daima needed more than 20 episodes to tell. Yes, I do believe the 20 episodes left it a little too short, but I do believe that's unfortunately because Toriyama didn't fully get to finish it. He kind of had the unfortunate thing of dying, and we don't have Dragon Balls in the real world, so we couldn't ask him for his final opinion of this stuff. He worked on it, but we don't know the extent of how much he worked on it. Making notes as we go? Let's go. That's what I love. I love to see, what's it called? Individuals really get passionate, because that's the thing. We're all passionate about the series. None of us aren't passionate about Dragon Ball. None of us. We all love Dragon Ball. We all love Dragon Ball. We're all passionate about this thing, okay? Originally a web anime? I actually don't know. I'll admit, that is one thing I didn't research. The history of Daima. I mainly focused a lot of my research on the episodes as well as the dislike for Daima. We would not be invested in Gohan turning SS2 if the plot did not do its job. They did have so many episodes to flesh out Gohan, which is why it's such a big deal. Wasn't it already clear that Daima and Super are different timelines? Okay, so I actually talked about that a little bit, or not talked about that. I made notes. Someone had once commented to me that Super is canon still. Super happens after Daima. And I'm gonna, this is the first time I'm actually gonna take a stance and disagree. Super being canon feels more like a theory. So Shin is confirmed to be from the second demon realm. He's a Glind. And Shin is not a god. I understand Raimus is, sent them out into the different realms to be supreme Kais, and Raimus was considered the overarching power. Here's the problem though, unless Raimus bonked his head and became Xeno, I don't think Daima and Super are in the same world anymore. Especially if you consider something else. Supreme Kai may be considered a god in the Earth universe, but he still came from the demon world. He is still a demon through and through. And so it doesn't explain how a demon is linked between gods of destruction, angels, and all of that. Now, don't get me wrong. If I wish Toriyama was still here, because the one question I would ask him is, Toriyama, if Super and Daima are connected, because you could say Raimus, despite being considered the overarching power, is still too weak to know that Xeno exists. He's still not that strong. What I would ask him is, hey, Toriyama, did you make Shin a Glind is, well, first, is Super still canon, and is Shin a Glind and a demon? Because you wanted to connect demons with angels and gods and almost make an entire different parallel. We associate demons as being destructive, otherworldly, evil, and gods as heavenly and holy. It would be so freaking cool if the connection has Beerus being the god of destruction and Shin being a more benevolent, merciful individual. So the Supreme Kaiser benevolent and merciful, which is entirely opposite to what we would just generally in the West kind of associate gods and demons. Gods should be more merciful, demons should be like less merciful. Again, that's kind of how imagery has been presented to us, but I think that would be such a cool parallel. But again, that's a theory. All of this is a theory. None of this is real, which is why I don't want it to be considered in the overall, in my overall like presentation and argument. None of this is like, you know, real. Daima was starting to take place after Buu Saga. They didn't say it's canon to Super. Okay, so again, Super being canon is a lot more of a theory in my opinion. And I think that the way to make it canon would be cool, but we can never get that confirmed really. And it would be cool, but again, it's just hard to do. Alright guys, I'm gonna take a quick drink, and that's all for reading chat for a little bit. So, with this next point, I'm going to present 5 episodes and then briefly read chat. Oh my god. Present 5 episodes, briefly read chat. Present 5 episodes, briefly read chat. Okay, now, this is kind of the meat going into the episodes. Episode 1. There's not much that you really have to say about this episode. It's reanimated Majin Buu Saga in cool moments with essentially a bunch of React streamers watching the peak moments. That is not a jab. That's literally it. That's literally it. Oh gosh, that's a good question to ask, Mr. K. Sorry, I normally don't want to interrupt for this, but I actually really want to answer that. I actually don't know if I'd like that. I loved Z's animation because of the limitations Z had and the staff they had. Changing it with a remake might actually make me not like it as much. You liked it for what it was, not for what it could be. Alright, so it was literally just a recap episode, but it was still fun to watch. You know, you basically got to, it's almost like watching, you know, me react to the newest unit coming out in Dragon Ball Legends or something like that. You get to watch 2 people basically go, holy god, Goku win, what? And it's very simple. It's very simple. And I liked it. I liked that. Now, again, I don't have much to say about 1 because it just set up the base. It gave people who have been away from Dragon Ball Z a recap, a huge recap that they might have needed for the Majin Buu Saga. And then, of course, set up the fact that they're going to be kids. So, episode 2, you know, they're getting used to their bodies, learning about, oh shoot, Dende got kidnapped, all of this stuff. And it was a more of a fun episode. They're setting up for their adventure. It makes sense that this one happened. They're just spending time setting up their adventure. That's it. Goku had to get his power pole, potentially needed some more sensu beans, but couldn't get any. Talked with Master Muten Roshi. Ended up getting Supreme Kai's ship transferred over, but it was broken. And then we get introduced to, you know, the best boy in the series, Glorio. I will stand Glorio. I don't care what anyone says. You leave my demon prince boyfriend alone. He's not a prince. I know he's not, but I just you know how when you call someone that you like, you know, Prince, King, all that stuff? Glorio's my demon prince. I did love how the power pole came back and how we got to see old, young Master Roshi. But again, a very simple a very simple episode to set up the adventure that we're about to go on. People had to get prepared. We had to get ready. My first 5 episodes, I didn't actually have as much written down because these were just fun to have. You could put these on in the background while you're doing chores and you'll enjoy it, in my opinion. Now, episode 3. I absolutely loved Warp Sama. It was such a silly thing that definitely felt like it came straight out of GT and straight out of Dragon Ball. Oh my god, Warp Sama was great and the entire segment was great, but he is a fish. I loved Warp Sama and the introduction of Daima, and when I say Daima, I mean the world, not the series, was beautiful. Oh my god, the landscape was great. I loved it. I loved how they spent time to fly us over it so we could see it. And it was just a more of a world developing lore drop episode because they had to introduce us to Daima and the third demon realm, letting us know why it's like this is for criminals and stuff like that. I think the bar fight was a good way for us to see Goku train a little bit, you know, kind of get a good taste of what the animation's going to look like throughout and introduce us to the criminal element in the third world demon world. Like, I like the fact that their ship got stolen. It's a bit of adversity that actually fleshes out what they were saying. Oh, the demon world, the demon world, the demon world is the demon dang it, the demon world was what's it called, the demon world, this one is full of criminals, and I like how they had them get their ship stolen. Oh my gosh, I laughed at a chat comment. They never turned on warp again. Oh my god. That's such a good point. It's okay, because Goku blasted a hole through all the demon worlds. And again, that's it for 3. 4, Goku, this is something that we can say. Goku never fails to make food look so good. He was eating bugs. He was eating, like, you know, a turtle rocks. He was eating like tentacle monsters, and I was over here like, oh my god, that looks good. Goku never fails to make food look so freaking good. I was hungry and I just had dinner. The demon burger looks so good. Oh, I wanted to eat it. And I just wanted, again, another episode of interacting with the world, understanding more about how the demon world works, going around and understanding Daima itself as a world. The bugs being sensu beans and like fusion made me think that there would be a fusion. Unfortunately, there wasn't, but it still made me be like, oh my god, are we getting a fusion? Yes, we're all susceptible to the fusion. And yes, people, you know, we love that stuff, okay? We love the Gogeta and Vegeta. But I think it was a nice way to give us essentially sensu beans and different things that we see in the overworld, show how the demon world does it, because the demon world is heavily based on magic. Heavily based on magic. And I like how they adapted the world to be like that. Now, Pansy is a good addition. I like how they introduced her. You know, fighting, defending the weak from the oppressive first world. And of course, if Goku wasn't there, she would have totally been captured, but that's fine. I was honestly afraid of calling Glorio my demon prince in socials because of the exact reason that Pansy was a princess. Literally, that's the entire reason why I was afraid of doing it. I was afraid Gloria was actually a prince, and people would be like, Hayami has watched Daima. Hayami has watched Daima, and she's just saying she did. Now, it might have been an insecurity more than a fear, but you know what? I put my insecurities out there. No, I'm kidding. I actually didn't want to get spoilers. So that little bit aside, I didn't want to see spoilers in the event Gloria was legitimately a prince. Because I had this idea, maybe Gloria was a prince. He was a prince of the second world, a prince of the first world. I don't know. I didn't know going in. And it's good to see that the abuse of civilians never gets old in any form of medium. All right, guys, so I'm gonna take a moment to read kind of what you guys are talking about. because that was 5 episodes. Think that the US that are the only people who never watch classic, only Z, they don't enjoy adventurous and goofy side of DB. And I think that's a good point, Alexander. That's actually kind of the big point that I'm getting at. A lot of us are used to classic Z, the Z that came up on Cartoon Network or whatever streaming service it was used. It was that cool cartoon that came on. Did you see Goku Go Super Saiyan? It took 3 episodes, but oh my god, like, that's the kind of stuff people would talk about at school. You get home and you watch that. Mini Vegeta would have been cool. Pansy is like the middle woman. Yes, she actually... So with Shin, Pansy, and Glorio... Well, actually, remove Glorio because he didn't really do much guiding. Pansy and Shin were the guides that you needed to help you understand the Daima world. A lot of people are like, why do they have characters who can't fight? Here's the reason. You have characters that can't fight because they tell the story. We as viewers need to understand the story. Goku is that individual that gets that story told to, so we understand the world. I liked Pansy. I thought she was fine. I don't think she took up too much time and she wasn't annoying and she got a small moment of spotlight. I have a problem with the show, but the latter half just puts a lot of holes into Super that didn't exist. Yeah, that too. Alright, y'all. That's how long it takes for the planet to blow up. In other words, 6 episodes. Hello, Stan. Welcome, welcome. Alright, guys. So, holy god. Super Saiyan 1 in episode 6. Ow, I bit my tongue. Oh, this is why I should have made this a video essay. Oh. Oh my god, I got so excited about this that I bit my tongue. Pace myself. Don't tell me what to do, Sage. I will gush about this show as much as I want to. Ah! Okay, anyways. So, Super Saiyan 1 is introduced. Oh my god, it never gets old, guys. Super Saiyan 1 never freaking gets old. It never gets old. It doesn't matter how many times we see Goku turn into Super Saiyan 1. It never gets old. You know, you get the same scream, the same zoom in, the same chant. I don't care how many people will tell me, hey, he did that in the Android saga. He did that in the Frieza saga. He did... No. No. I will never, ever say that it gets old. Super Saiyan was still one of the most hype things ever. And it will never not be if we get a transforming. If we get a transforming Daima Goku into Super Saiyan 1 in DBL, in Dokkan, I will go for it. Because Super Saiyan will always be freaking awesome. Always. Always. Always, 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 always. And Glorio looked really cool too, but that, unfortunately, Glorio being really awesome is kind of overshadowed by the fact that Super Saiyan came into place. And it was actually kind of nice to see how just outclassed Glorio was by Goku. He very quickly understood his place. He was like, no, nanda desu ka? So, yeah, Super Saiyan will never get old. And you know, you had your big hulking creature that Toriyama liked to make, the Minotaur, all that fun stuff. Alright, so that's all for this episode. Really, the one that stands out is, of course, the Super Saiyan transformation. I could gush about it all day, but I gotta move on to make good time. Super Saiyan, so episode 7. It was actually really nice to see Shin, or Nahare. I'm gonna continue calling him Shin, but his name is Nahare. Fight alongside with Glorio and a little, to some extent, Pansy. It created a bit of a momentary trouble, momentary issue for our heroes, creating, you know, that moment where it's like, oh no. So I think that it was a nice little episode. This is one that just kind of felt like it gave us a little bit more time in the third demon world, and I think that's important. I wouldn't really call this filler because it's still part of the main story, but it was and I think it was still important to have in here. Oh shoot, I'm so sorry. I need one big thing. So it was nice at the end when Vegeta is finally getting to travel into Daima, and I was traumatized at the end when I heard Tamagami number 3! Ore wa Tamagami number 3! Dude, I felt something primal come out of me. I know you're there, Logan. Ore wa Tamagami number 3! So that was traumatized, and again, I think that this was a nice episode to have overall. This one, the fight between Daima Goku and Tamagami. Guys, I was squealing when I saw Goku kick Tamagami in the back. So I'm actually reading through my notes. I took notes as I was watching these episodes. I actually started more towards episode 10, so I had to go back and put notes in for 1 through like 8, which is why they're a little bit more, you know, barren than you would probably expect. But I also recognize those episodes were more about world building than things that I'm gonna gush about here. Which again, nice moments. I don't want it to say just because I'm gushing about these fighting moments, I did not love the silly moments in between, as well as the world building they gave us for the Daima world, because we got a big bulk of Daima world lore dropped on us too. We understand quite a bit about the Daima world now. So anyways, good fight overall. I freaking squealed when I saw Goku kick Tamagami and blast him in the back like the DBL special arts card. Oh my god, I was like, oh my god, that's from Legends! That's from Legends! Oh my god! To absolutely no one around me. After we lost, or after Tamagami number 3 lost, I ended up loving him. My trauma was reversed and cured, and I love the big metal man. I love Tamagami number 3 now. So I'm happy to listen to Ore wa Tamagami number 3 over and 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 over now. And what's really nice is it was a short, quick, cool, animated thingy. It was a short, quick, cool, animated fight, and I liked it. And then of course you had the silliness of like the ball in the cup minigame. Overall, great fight. Overall, easy to squeal over. Love this one. Now, almost at the 10th episode, which we'll get here soon. So, the 9th episode. I loved seeing that Vegeta was finally getting some screen time. He's kind of just been absent for quite a bit of time. It's nice to see an excursion. So, they mentioned to us that, oh, hey, this is a criminal world. This is a criminal world. Even if this would be considered more of like a filler thing, this is a criminal world. I actually love that they showed us how it's perilous, you know. It helps. It helps, you guys. This kind of stuff helps build your world and get you as part of the journey and adventure. You know, I'm sure there are some people who would be like, I want to see Goku go from Super Saiyan 1 to Super Saiyan 4 in like the next episode. I don't. I wanted to see, and again, that's fine. I wanted to watch Goku and his journey, and this is part of it. There is a criminal element of the third world. And so it's obvious someone would try to steal something as valuable as a Dragon Ball. And it put the value and emphasis on how important Dragon Balls are in the Daima world. I keep on saying Daima, but Daima means Demon World. How important Dragon Balls are to the Demon World. And that's why I actually liked it. Yeah, it took like 10-15 minutes to do, but I liked it because of that. I liked it because it gave us a bit more of a feeling in the world. It wasn't just like, hey, Goku has the Dragon Ball, now no one's gonna mess with him. No, it's like, oh my god, we can grab that and make a ton of money. This world is a criminal world. This is where all the criminals are. Okay, and of course, the big lore drop is that the reveal that Buu was created by the Witch Lady was kind of crazy. Of course, it's like, wait, why does that change? That doesn't make any difference from Bibbidi being the individual being said that Buu was created, but to me it kind of does, because it sets up the fact that the Witch Lady could create Majins, and the fact that you could even go even further to say, wait a minute, so this woman allowed a bunch of people one person take the fall for creating Majin Buu so she wouldn't get killed. In which case, yes. I was surprised on what Majin Ku was. Originally I thought he was just a Cyberman. And to some extent, he is just a Cyberman fused with Buu. But I liked how he was basically Buu's brother in this case. And I actually liked how, what's it called? The introduction of Majin Ku. Ku was silly. Ku was fun. I liked Ku. So let me look at these notes real quick. I originally actually thought that Vegeta being kept away from Goku and making sure that they stay separate is so Vegeta could have a cool entrance while Goku was losing. And you know, that's just not it for me, I guess. That didn't happen. Whatever. I'm not wrong. No, I am. I also love the little detail that they censored Shin's sister spitting so she still looks like a pretty lady. You don't see like the drool like dripping out of her mouth as she spits. She's just like gently covering her lip and she's like, oh, I'm a dainty flower. Iceberg Vegeta, oh. Arinsu, yes, Arinsu. You know, they had her put a hand over her mouth and she just gently spits into the thing. They didn't have her go, ha! They didn't have her toss her hairdo and her $50 haircut back and just spit into the pot. Now, episode 10 is huge lore for us because it sets up the second demon world. Oh my god, imagine, yes. Okay, I will comment on that after going through this episode. And this is probably what led people to believe that Super is canon, because the Supreme Kais here are all in Dragon Ball Super. However, you could just say that the designs were reused. So we had some nice animated fights, the big Kraken monster to set up foreshadowing for later. Wait, where's episode 11? Shoot, oh, it's combined. I was so worried I didn't get episode 11. Ku reminds me of a lot more of a stable version of Kid Buu, and that is important to establish here, just because it shows how the Cyberman DNA changed Buu's genes. And, you know, Tamagami 1 is like extremely strong. I love how strong the Tamagamis are. But the world building is overall nice. The fact that Namek was actually just genuinely, Namek is just a planet that was recreated in the image of the demon world's second demon world. Now, that could be considered a retcon, whatever. No, I think it's cool. I think it is a cool idea to consider the fact that Nameks found a world and terraformed that planet into the second demon world so they could feel more at home. And of course, you know, the Supreme Kais. This is the part where people probably get it from, the fact that they're canon. Again, I think it's just reused designs, however. I think it is just reused designs for the Supreme Kais. And like I said, this was more of a lore drop and a bit more of a Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super getting world builded. I also can't believe that they dropped that Vegeta likes big hunkas so easily. Literally, just in that episode, they're like, "Oh, I see why, Vegeta. You like big badonkadonks, big watermelons, big water balloons." Yeah, okay. I don't think it is retcon. It was established that Namek was terraformed. Okay. So, very quickly, let's go in and let's now read the chat. So, yes. Oh my god, guys, what's his name? The freaking jester guy. I forgot his name already. Evil main villain. He reminds me of a Dragon Quest villain. Holy crud! Like, I won't lie. I would love to play Dragon Quest on stream. Goma, thank you. Goma reminds me of a Dragon Quest villain. I think Five's villain. And this really does feel a lot more like Dragon Quest. And you could just say, oh my gosh, it's because it's drawn by Toriyama. But Toriyama, I feel like, used a lot more designs that he would use in Dragon Quest for Daima. I love that. I loved that. I've heard a lot of good things about Dragon Quest. Apparently, I really did love Dragon Quest before things, but I'd love to actually replay those. Even JP calls him Jiren. I mean, he pretty much is Jiren. Everyone loves his wife. That part frustrated me. I do believe, and this is actually something I will mention about Vegeta. We had a couple of moments where Vegeta was kind of made to be like a fool and stuff like that. Now, I'll talk about it quite a bit, but the problem is that you guys might, I don't know if you guys know this, but it was put on record that Toriyama actually said he disliked Vegeta. Toriyama doesn't like Vegeta. He thinks Vegeta is, he doesn't like him. You know, Vegeta was a villain, Vegeta, all that stuff. He didn't like Vegeta. And in quotes, he literally said, but Vegeta is helpful to have around. Vegeta is really loved by audiences. Really loved by audiences. We love Vegeta because of his story, because of his growth, because of how he got the Earthling experience versus getting hit on the head. So Toriyama didn't like Vegeta. Wait, really? I need to do some more research on that, but I didn't know Vegeta was alive because fans really like the character. That's actually a thing that I do believe Toriyama liked to make fans happy, which was sweet. You should also try Chrono Trigger. So I actually have a Chrono Trigger poster. I don't think I've ever played Chrono Trigger. This actually is part of something that just to talk about me a little bit, but I think I love Akira Toriyama's art style and content more than just Dragon Ball. For me, I think I just love the Toriyama stuff he makes. And Chrono Trigger is considered a legendary, what's it called? Game. It's considered like, that is considered a legendary classic. And I'd love to play it someday. I'd love to play Chrono Trigger someday. OG Daima, OG DB, and GT without proper development and pacing hurt the show a lot. There's a lack of decent pacing where episodes are either slow or fast. And I think it's because they're limited on episodes. But of course, people can argue, well, you know, you don't need, you could still flesh it out in short episodes, but they spent a lot of time on world building and silly jokes. And I will answer that, Job, towards the end. Okay, so let's move on. So, love how Piccolo just got judged after Neva's reveal. You know, Neva's like, I'm a Namekian. I'm not supposed to use my powers for evil or my powers for violence. And everyone just stared at Piccolo. And he's like, what? What? Hey! Piccolo just got judged immediately. The freaking... the entire jury was out on that one. Everyone just looked at him. We have clans. Sad. It was sad for the Namekians. The fact that first the first Demon World, then Frieza. It's no wonder Demon King Piccolo hated people. Demon King Piccolo. I I believe he actually still remembers the demon world, and he was considered a demon to begin with. It's no wonder he hated just people. It's no wonder he wanted to take over the earth. The Namekians were constantly enslaved, and yes, you would say that, well, Demon King Piccolo wasn't taken over by Frieza. But you know, oh shoot, I didn't know DKP didn't remember the demon world. Never mind. But Demon King Piccolo overall, it's no wonder he disliked it, because Namekians are just constantly enslaved. The problem is Namekians are a lot more, I wouldn't say they're peaceful, because they do have warrior Namekians, but Namekians are a bit more of, I would argue, a bit more of a peaceful race. And I'm sad that they're constantly being enslaved, but again, they're valuable, they're powerful. They have magic that is crazy strong. And yes, Demon King Piccolo, you know, evil versus good. We know about the Kami stuff when it comes to that. But it's no wonder that evil existed for Demon King Piccolo. Here, this is a bit of a harder one for me to say. I think it's basically, it's no wonder Demon King Piccolo was evil, because they were constantly enslaved by the first demon worlds. And I love the lore that we got for the Namekians. Truly, I did. I liked Majin Doo and Majin Ku. Majin Doo and Ku felt like Boo. Well, for obvious reasons, but it felt like they were more of like silly, strong characters, and I liked them. Okay, that was more of something. Doo and Ku are definitely more for kids, but I freaking love it because I'm a kid mentally. No, I just loved it because it's funny. With Tamagami number 2, my love of Metal Men grew even more. I love the Tamagamis so far. And we also got to meet one as well. So I freaking love the Tamagamis. I love Doo and Ku. I love the Tamagamis. I want to make a full Tamagami teams one day. That's my dream. Tamagami team. Tamagami team. Tamagami team. Please. I had a feeling we'd get an awesome fight between Ku and Vegeta, like switching between the two. But I believe what we actually got was Doo and Vegeta. I can't remember that, I'm so sorry. Doo and Ku were good boys. Doo and Ku were good boys. Using the Kraken as a stage hazard was a nice addition for Vegeta, and I'm so glad we were getting the Vegeta fight. Vegeta deserves a little bit more screen time. Now, episode 12. We all lost our stuff at this one. I know for a fact we all lost our stuff for this one. Vegeta going Super Saiyan 3. Starting off with Super Saiyan 2 and transition into Super Saiyan, or starting off with 1 and then transitioning into 2 was awesome. He just went bam, bam. And then, you know, as he's losing, Super Saiyan 3. Now, I already know that thanks to Dokkan and DBL, I knew it was coming, but that didn't make it less cool for me, okay? Now, poor Doo, he just wanted chocolate, and he's too much like Fat Boo. This is one thing that's a little bit harder for me to fully swallow, and I'll admit here, Doo wanting chocolate, loving food, all that stuff. Wait, no. Oh my god, never mind. Guys, forget what I was saying there. Doo just wanted chocolate. He's a lot more like Fat Boo. Never mind. Let's just get a freaking can we get like some ups for Neva making the Tamagami number 2 stronger so Vegeta could get the transformation though? Can we get some ups for Neva out here? He's out here making our freaking boys transform like crazy. Let's go. I actually didn't think Majin Doo would beat Tamagami 1. I thought that the story would go, Goku would beat Tamagami 3, Vegeta would beat Tamagami 2, and then Goku would beat Tamagami 1. But no, it turns out Doo beat Tamagami 1, and I thought that the last trial, Doo wouldn't be able to do it, but Ku did, and I didn't know at the time. That's a big foreshadowing to how smart Ku is. Majin Ku is actually a lot smarter than we think. And they did it a couple of times to show us how smart he actually is. Despite knowing Ultra Vegeta 1 was coming, again, didn't make it less cooler. I had goosebumps. I was ready to watch Vegeta kick his butt, and Gallic Gun was awesome. So, that's basically my big comments on 12. 1 second drill, I will get to that after we get through our next 5. Okay, this quick little fun episode to keep us in the demon world for a little longer. This is definitely a lot more filler. And I could say confidently, I don't really feel like this was needed, but it gave us a bit more of understanding of Demon World and kind of the uniqueness in it. It showed us the designs and environment and how different the Demon World is. How each world has different planets, mega planet, giga planet, blah, 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 blah. Again, you really didn't have to need it. And then, of course, disabling Warp Sama was actually nice, you know? Sending the ship down was nice. It showed that Goma was not dumb. He knew they needed Warp Sama, so why not just disable it? He's the king, you know? Oh, I'm not smart enough to be a... No, instead, he was smart enough to disable it because they said Goma's cunning. He's smart. So him disabling it makes sense, and I'm glad they did that. And yes, it primarily was more for world building. You don't really need it, but... watching it gives you a better understanding of the demon world. So I was happy with it. I had no problems with it. And of course, we got to see Piccolo fight a little bit more. Now, this one. We were introduced to the Demon Realm Ginyu Force in episode 14. I was like squealing like a little girl. I love the Ginyu Force. Unfortunately, they aren't as strong as the Ginyu Force, but I still love it. It was nice to kind of see Neva's magic. Again, they're developing kind of Namekians and the strength of their magic. Neva is not going to be able to physically fight, but his magic is like out of this world powerful. He created a seal that required Warp Sama. And it actually makes sense why he did it. Again, having that heavy scrutiny towards the peaceful races that lived in the second demon world being used as captors, being used for their powers. That was important. That was important to establish why these seals were in place. And so overall, pretty cool episode. Gave the other characters a bit more spotlight because Goku wasn't able to just hi-ya his way through it. All right, let's be fair. In this episode, Goma pretty much pulled a I like you, don't come to school. He just had his soldiers shooting at the kids. It was... Woo! It was nice that the belt on the eye was important. I'm not gonna lie, even though they spent time on the belt and the eye, I didn't put 2 and 2 together to think that it would have been important. And how it fell into Derpo's hands. I don't remember the guys' names, but it's basically how it fell into Derpo's hands. And I like that. That's how things happen sometimes. You know, some people may be like, why wasn't it a hero that came out and saved the day and got... No, sometimes it's as simple as during political struggle, thieving and looting happens often. So when they got to the third world, what's it called? When they got to the third world, of course the eye would get stolen. Of course the eye would get stolen, or not the eye. Of course the guy who landed would get, you know, mugged. And the eye, not being that important to some people, just would be left there. And then one day, Derpo would pick it up. It was funny that E-Girl failed with the kissy on him. I'll give you a kiss. I don't want that. It was nice to see all the side characters and Piccolo get a chance to shine with Vegeta and Goku. It was nice to see them come in and support because it's very clear they were important somewhat to the journey. So it was nice to see them support because there's a war. Goma had an entire army, so having people who could fight against was nice to this overall one. it was unfortunate that the only way for Goma to actually become a threat was through this eye to become Clown Jiren. So yeah. Okay guys, so that's the next 5 episodes. Let's actually, I'm gonna take a moment, go through chat, read chat. Let's talk about this a little bit more. Goma kinda lackluster, elite Gendarmerie, the Ginyu Force but worse somehow. It's because they're not as strong as the Ginyu Force, which may not make sense, but you know, I don't really get into power scaling topics because I feel like power scaling is a bit too much to talk about for me. And you know, some people will be like, wait, but Dragon Ball and power scaling, it's like, yeah, I get it, but I think that I don't always think power scaling is that necessary, and that's just my personal opinion on that. Can't believe you said that. It was a joke, Sage. Do you think Pansy and Gloria are the new Pan and Trunks? No. I think that they were just individuals for the story. I don't think I would relate them to Pan and Trunks. I don't think I would. Fusion bug for a sec. I really did not think it would be used as a gag, but I really did think they would use it as a gag, but it just went unused. Yeah, that made me sad. I was kind of excited for the fusion bug. And I wanted to see a bit more. With the fusion bug, or just anything. They kind of spent a decent bit of time, but I guess you could call that as like a little thing that's like you expect something but I don't think it's a red herring, but you know, the concept is somewhat similar. The power scaling, again, I don't really get into power scaling. For me, for canon reasons, it would be made more sense if SS4 was just a temporary boost, but the end makes it Goku's own doing it again. Break the canon, ties of canon to super. That, and I will actually talk about that very briefly. I will talk about that very briefly. Someone did say, why did Deborah's dad ever take off the eye? Take it off though. I think Deborah's father was Abura, and then his father was the guy with the demon eye. God, I don't know. For all I know, the demon eye causes okay, and this is me doing work for the writers, which is why I won't say, hey, look at this. No, this is me doing work for the writers. So I'm not going to say it's canon. I'm not going to say that. They should have at least given us a little bit of information about that. But you could easily say that the eye may have taken a lot of power from an individual, so they had to put it away. That's about it. You can't wear it all the time. Ainz and Glorio. Making the iconic scene of SSJ4 from GT Canon was Daima's mistake. Also, back to the main problem, Deborah's dad could have floored the robos and got wishes. Ooh, actually, that is a good point. Well, we actually don't know. Wait, no, we do. Because Goma easily beat Tamagami. But who is to say that Deborah's dad even wanted the wishes, you know? Here, and again, this is me doing work for the writers, but consider it from this perspective. Deborah's dad was king. You know, he's overconfident. He's cocky to the point where Abura actually thought that, oh, well, I don't need the eye. I'm king anyways. They're cocky. Why would I don't need Dragon Balls. I'm strong enough as is. I don't need someone to help. You know, that's essentially the thing. Overconfidence, ego, cockiness. Let's see. But yeah, no, and actually, as what Man said, I kind of want to actually touch on that. I'm actually really thankful for you guys. All of you have been discussing this. I read every now and then and I don't catch or remember everything, but I've seen very respectful conversation in this chat, which makes me so happy. Like, thank you guys. This has been like so enjoyable. I might sit down and watch GT and tell you guys about it. Oh my gosh. No, GT is a bit too controversial sometimes. We'll see. I honestly think my only complaint for SSJ4 is that Goku trained for it rather than it being a power awakened in him via some outside means. And we'll definitely, I think that for SS4, we'll get to that after this next set of episodes. But yes, I have really been loving this civility here. Alright guys, so continuing forward. It was sad that the Genki Force stunk. And I can't believe Degesu totally got away with putting a shooty device up to baby Dende. Guys, when I searched up episode 16, that was what kept showing up. Dagesu putting the oh my god. It got serious real quick. Rated M for mature. I had to make sure I found one where he's just holding baby Dende. Oh my god. What I liked was seeing, again, the ambition of the power ambition throughout these episodes. You know, you learn Arinsu, or you learned a while back, Arinsu wanted to become king. You learned Dagesu wants to be king. Goma is king. You know, it's very clear in the demon world, power is important, especially like social and political power as well as physical power. Power is important here, and the amount of backstabbing that every single character was willing to do was big. Unfortunately, Dagesu kind of just got, you know, Dagesu kind of got, what's it called? Lost baby Dende and then just got karate chopped in the neck, so... he kind of just, he kind of was just there. And of course, the fight between Majin Du and Goku gets interrupted by Discount Jiren! Oh shoot, wait, that was in the episode, sorry. Discount Jiren is about to enter. That's what this was. 16 was just nice. Because again, we got to see Shin talk to Dagesu and see a bit more about people, you know, trying to backstab each other in the Daima world. Okay, now. The showdown between the Majin and the Z Warriors. I find it interesting how Shin felt he could reason with Arinsu. He felt like he can reason with his sister and not with his brother. Which was kind of like, wait, what? The Daima world. I'm sorry! I'm trying to make a difference, but I'm too busy saying Daima. I need to say Demon World, Demon World, Demon World. Shin felt that he could reason with Arinsu versus, you know, Dagesu. And you could argue it's because Dagesu had a shooty up against baby Dende. And Arinsu was just standing there, so you could say that, but that's the extent of my thoughts there. We got the fight between Goku and Majin again, which we love because we know that what's it called? Goku really wanted to fight Majin again. He really wanted to, and yes, the ending of Z had him meet with Oob, but this would have been before the ending of Z, so he got to fight with Majin again. And Du is a better person this time. The baseball ki blast between Du and Goku was great. You know, the ki blast and then Du knocked it back and then Goku knocked it back. Great animation there, great animation. And then the entrance of Goma was actually intense. Now, I put this as a comment here because it's like, we can't go in the Dragon Ball entry without Vegeta getting smacked. You know, he's overconfident, he just gets... Why did Discount Jiren have to become so strong? Now, there is a couple of things that this stuff is kind of me just weaving out. I put a bunch of random comments, so I will read to you word for word what I put. The punch from Goku was beautiful. Oh my god, the beam blast together, all in caps, exclamation mark, exclamation marks. Super Saiyan 3, exclamation mark, times 3. The entrance was perfectly timed, 2 exclamation marks. This is basically the point where I was just busy, like, weaving out over how awesome some of these were. The entrance with Super Saiyan 3 was awesome. I loved it. The punch was great. The beam together. This was a great fight. This was awesome seeing everyone work together to try to overcome the villain. So, originally, moving into episode 18, everyone was probably, like, I mean, the people in Daima, the individuals with Goku, fighting alongside Goku, was cheering for Super Saiyan 3 as much as I was cheering for Super Saiyan 3. Now, I will say, I originally thought this was going to be, hold on, what? Oh god, I lost my train of thought, give me a second. Usually as stream goes on, I become a lot less well-spoken. I originally thought that a Rinsu would have gone through a generic kids trope. To save the demon world, I must give up my evil ambition. I will give these Dragon Balls so that they can be strong again. I thought that was what was going to happen. So now that you understand this concept, we'll go into episode 18. Super Majin Buu, funny, fun little moment. And this is what I put in all caps the moment it happened. Super Saiyan 4 is real. And then I made a little joke. I think his hands were a little too big, that he looked like Knuckles. You guys, please tell me someone else kind of came out here. This is not to say Super Saiyan 4 is not awesome, or at least what we think are Super Saiyan 4, but he looked like Knuckles for a moment. I still loved 4. I still loved Daima's 4. So don't let this be like a, oh my god, I hated it. No. Now, what I loved with the animation is, I understand some people, I know some of y'all said, oh, the transformation, I wish he trained for it. I wish he trained for it. But the animation with Neva giving him the power, it looked more like Neva was reconnecting Goku to his Saiyan roots. You saw it go through his genes. You saw that energy move through. You can interpret it as 3 different ways. He unlocked Goku's power, just like how Guru unlocked Gohan and Krillin's hidden potential. You could consider it as hidden potential. You could consider it what happens when Saiyan energy gets mixed with Namekian, which again might just be hidden potential. And the final thing is, you could consider it as Goku's roots were connected with Saiyan, with his Saiyan roots, because he originally was a little too, he might have been a little too far off from his Saiyan roots. I think the most possible one is the hidden potential. But really quickly, you said temporary, not permanent. That actually goes against what happened in the Frieza saga. Guru permanently unlocked Krillin and Gohan's hidden potential. Permanently. It wasn't temporary. So hidden potential being unlocked is a permanent thing. And that would make sense. I think Super Saiyan 4, we think it's 4, but we don't know if the form is actually 4. Makes sense because of the hidden potential. I'm more aligned with thinking it's hidden potential than Saiyan roots, or it could be both. The Makaken Soko Sapo and the lightning ability. Oh, it literally is Super Saiyan 4. Never mind, I missed that detail. Sorry, guys. So yes, 4 is, what's it called? I think it is a hidden potential thing. And it could be both. It could be potential unlock into Saiyan DNA. It could be Saiyan DNA. We don't know. Confirmed. We just know based off of the animation, and I think it's a mixture of both. I'll never forgive Goma for almost interrupting the Kamehameha. Guys, if you guys heard me, I was like, dang you, Goma! And then literally, I saw Goku lingering in air. I'm like, oh my god, no, he's still charging it. He's still charging it. He's still charging it! And then I heard him use the Kamehameha, and I squealed. I was like, ah! Dude, it never gets old seeing Goku go into a new form and then use his Kamehameha. So I got faked out twice by the Kamehameha. I'll admit that. Full force. I got faked out twice. For me, Glorio and Rinsu were working together, and I didn't expect that originally. I thought that Glorio was working with someone, I just didn't know who. And I guess it should have been obvious that it was a Rinsu, but my brain was on stun after my lack of sleep, so I didn't think about that. Basically, I will read to you guys what I typed down because this was pure emotion going on in this scene. Glorio, in all caps, Glorio, please betray that witch. Please, Glorio, you had the scenes and everything to show you care. I literally, word for word, that is what I put in my notes. And then, of course, I thought Red Purunga looked really cool. So, overall, really awesome that we got 4 Daima. One thing I'll say is I saw people saying this is Toriyama's 4. This is Toriyama Super Saiyan 4. I actually did a little bit of research on that, and I learned that Toriyama actually made the designs in GT. So Super Saiyan 4 was actually an official design by Toriyama. This is not Toriyama's 4. This is just Toriyama putting 4 into Daima. It is confirmed that he did make designs, and he even drew Super Saiyan 4 on one of the copies of like a GT edition you could buy. He did make some. So let's see. What else do we have? Let's see. 19. Wait, he didn't do Super Saiyan 4? He what? Wait, did I get wrong? Someone else made 4? He didn't, he just liked it. Okay. Toyotaro made it. Okay, never mind. Thank you guys. Thank you. I thought he made Super Saiyan 4. Toyo didn't make it? Wait, who made Super Saiyan 4? You know what? We'll get into that later. Okay, so now I know Toriyama didn't make Super Saiyan 4. I guess I read that somewhere else. Someone else made it, but he liked it, which makes sense. I know, I think, what's it called? Toriyama made the ship designs though. And so that was nice to know. So, okay, well, I didn't know that Toriyama didn't make Super Saiyan 4. Well, anyway, I got the update. I'm more than willing to admit, hey, like, I got wrong information. More than happy to say, cool. I'm more than happy to be said I'm wrong in that regard. SSG5, it was Kayetsuyoshi who designed 4. Either way, we can all agree Super Saiyan 4 was still a rad transformation. But I know Toriyama did some design, so never mind. That previous point that I made, just scratch that out. This is why it's good to do it on a live stream, because I can have people basically tell me, no, Hayami. I like that. I like being told no and being told I'm wrong. I'm not always going to have perfect information. I'm not always going to have perfect information. So, and I actually like having the right information when it comes to this. So thank y'all. Thank y'all. Now, Super Saiyan 4 is awesome, and I actually do like the black hair version a lot more, genuinely. I think that it fits so well, and I think it's such a unique transformation. And yeah, sometimes in chat we get some wrong information too, but you know, it all works out in the end. Now, because eventually I get the right information. So, yes, thank you guys for being here to help. Now, I want to also read to you the excerpt here at episode 19, because this again was pure emotion for me. Please, Glorio. Yes, he betrayed her. They're adultifying. I love you, Glorio. That's right, Glorio. You don't need hot demon babes. Oh my god. So that was pure emotion for me. When I was writing that down. I was just that excited. And like I said before, I thought Arinsu would have decided to be a good person at the last moment, but thank goodness he didn't. I thought she would give up her ball, all that stuff. No, it was Glorio. It was Glorio. Glorio, Glero, all that stuff. We get to see adult SSJ3 Vegeta, which is great. And I thought Vegeta was going to get his butt. Okay, so again, this is just like word salad. So let me kind of break it down for you. I thought Vegeta was going to get his butt kicked at first, and then Goma got smashed. But then Goma came back and he was like, I can do this all day. And I literally said, all right, Captain America. So in between this fight, we actually had almost like a Z moment, right? A tender moment in between a fight. Glorio saluting, you know, I guess his okay, guys, don't get weird when I say this. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He's saluting his mistress, the one who had him hired, all that stuff, because it's very clear Glorio was almost enslaved, genuinely. And so he ended up like saluting her, saying goodbye. Glorio has probably felt like a tool for years. Like literally, he's just a tool to be used. That's it. And it broke my heart to see that, you know. He's probably like hurt on the inside, but he's just like, no, it's okay, hold back the tears. So he was about to run back to his friends, and he was standing there about to salute all that stuff, like he's a soldier, he's a tool to be used, all of that. And immediately his friends embraced him and welcomed him as a friend, had me in tears. Guys, I was crying, and I'm starting to cry again because I really love Glorio, and that was such a tender moment. Okay. Sorry, I try not to cry too much. Okay, so. All right. I love that. I love that. It was such a good moment. It was such a happy moment. These are tears of joy. These are tears of joy. So, you know, Vegeta's having his moment, and then I was like, the final flash that will kill from the legendary finish. I was so excited. The fight was awesome. And then, of course, the beautiful God Ray. Dude, guys, Goma getting blasted into the sky, and then the God Rays of the final flash through the freaking clouds. Oh, oh, beautiful. It was glorious. And then, of course, Vegeta's chance to... Vegeta basically needed to get clapped once more because you needed Goku to come in. Again, the once again great moment of Vegeta needing to wait for Goku, I suppose. Gosh, dang it. That's literally what it sounds like. Gosh, dang it. Vegeta had to be destroyed. And then, of course, I can't believe they did my boy Vegeta wrong. Had him immediately jump back just so he could get he could continue getting bath time with Bulma. Vegeta keeps taking L's for Goku to come in and be cool, but that's okay. We got the Super Saiyan 4 fight. Now, when Piccolo said to Goku, it's like, hey, I'll look for an opening. Dude, I thought we were about to get Piccolo-ku again. I thought we were about to get Piccolo-ku. I thought we were going to get freaking Piccolo and Goku from for the first time since Saiyan Saga and what's it called? The Dead Zone movie. But no, we didn't. Now, guys, I was also squealing when Goku did the thing that he did with Majin Buu, with Goma. I'm not kidding. That moment was great. This is Super Saiyan 1. I was freaking out. And this is Super Saiyan 2. And of course he goes to Super Saiyan 3. And then Goma's like, ho hum, another pointless transformation. So you changed your hair. So what? Basically, pointless transformations. And then he made the same mistake Bobbity did. Be careful. You're making the same mistake Bobbity did. And this... And he, you know, so I kind of was like, oh my god. He strips his shirt off and transforms into SS4. That was great. And I remember what went through my head is, so that's what Chi-Chi sees. Okay, my jokes are over. I think that's all the jokes that I put in while going through each of these episodes. All right. So, guys, please, it was just a joke. It was just a joke. I just wanted to go for the funny. But yes, Vegeta never flew so fast and all that stuff. 19 was nice. So, let's be honest, Bonus Coup, I called him Bonus Coup because he was transforming. Bonus Coup, destroying Goma was absolutely great. I legitimately thought we were about to get the Dragon Fist when he was sitting there powering up. I thought, dude, if I got Dragon Fist, I would have screamed. I thought we were about to get the Dragon Fist. Whew. Instead, we got the Kamehameha. The Kamehameha was still really awesome, penetrating through Goma and the demon worlds, damaging the natural habitat. It was great. It was great. You know, we have created a bunch of problems in we had created a bunch of problems. I would have loved the Dragon Fist, but not sadly, the Kamehameha was still great, and the fight overall was well animated and good. Now, this is what I will actually say, leading to my previous point. Episode 20 felt more like what you would expect out of Dragon Ball Z. Fights, intense fighting, bam, bam, bam. Episode 20 definitely felt like a fight that you would see out of Dragon Ball Z. Which is probably, I think that's where a lot of people actually started saying, oh, awesome. At least until the ending, and I'll talk about it here briefly. This is probably, we almost got Piccolo the freaking kill, guys. Piccolo should have gotten the kill. Why can't Piccolo get a confirmed kill? Ah! It made me so excited. Instead, we got Ku with his silly moment in the book. Now, it's important to say, again, how fast Ku read is, again, another credence to show just how smart he is. Now, this is what I will say about Ku. I understand why it needed to happen. Ku had to become the demon. They needed someone who wasn't Piccolo to become the Demon King. They needed someone. And he's smart enough to actually be the Demon King and isn't evil. Ku is a good boy and pure at heart, and will probably lead the Demon King into prosperity. You couldn't have Rinsu do it, and Piccolo couldn't do it because he can't get stuck there, same with Vegeta. I understand why they had to do it for him to become the new Demon Lord. Now, unfortunately, instead of giving, you know, because of Goma regenerating so easily, it made all of Vegeta's efforts feel, you know, meh. It made all of Goku's efforts feel meh. It made Piccolo's effort feel meh. Like they were overcoming it, and there's just like meh. And that's probably what I didn't like. What I would have liked is Ku is smart enough. I wish it wasn't coincidence. I wish Ku legitimately, like it was revealed, Ku legitimately considered the trajectory to be able to get right at Goma's head. Because Ku is that smart. Ku is legitimately smart and pure at heart. But because of all of that effort and all of that buildup and stuff like that, I was really sad when Goku did not get, when Piccolo didn't get that kill. And do you know, this is why. This is like Trunks versus Zamasu, Zamasu, all over for me. Trunks getting the prayers of all the people who have been, you know, absolutely downtrodden and beaten up. Getting energy to repair his broken sword for one final piece of hope. The power of the Earthlings against this man who killed his mom, who ended up destroying the entire world, who ended up almost killing his girlfriend. He goes in, stabs him. This is the power of everyone's hopes and dreams. Bam! And then Zamasu just comes back and, oh my gosh, Zamasu, ha 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 ha, I'm actually this strong that I can infect the reality. And so it was a reason to get a second Xeno in there. That is definitely a Toriyama humor thing. And for me, that was the one thing I didn't like, because it took away the overall struggle that you felt, the energy, the emotions that you felt through that Kamehameha, through the spirit sword. And it ended up making them into a bit of a more joke moment. Happy silly ending, but again, it makes sense. Poor Vegeta got scapegoated, and this is probably where I missed Super Saiyan 4, because I looked away for a moment to take notes, and then I saw poor Vegeta getting scapegoated for Ultra Vegeta 1. Oh my gosh, but now I understand the Ultra Vegeta 1 thing. It was also nice that the Namekians got a chance to talk together and then got a happy ending, because they've kind of been, you know, abused for so long. It was really nice that they got the chance to just have a happy ending. Really. So let's see. Okay. And of course, then the reveal that demon eyes are actually somewhat easy to come by. All right, so that's the end of that. I saw that there was a leak in chat. I'm not gonna look because I usually don't look at leaks. I save it for when, you know, official content comes out. So I'm gonna give it a second before I read chat. And that's not to say there's anything wrong. That's just a simple boundary that I end up having so that I can be surprised during the stream. Oh, okay. I was keeping my hand over it. Thank you, Job. Much appreciated. Okay, so that was overall my thoughts on Daima. That was my thoughts on Daima. I really enjoyed it. Like, some of y'all, I know someone had said like whether or not I hated Daima when it came to the video title. No, I love Daima. This might be crazy, but Daima is Daima is my favorite entry in the Dragon Ball series. It's easily digestible. It's so enjoyable. It's like you could easily just put it on in the background and enjoy Daima. And then of course it has moments, excuse me, that we love from Dragon Ball Z. Now, I'm going to take a moment to read chat and see what you guys are saying. Dokkan summons? No, I thought about that. I thought about summoning for Daima because I love Glorio, but at the same time, like, I gotta save. I gotta be like a gacha player, so I can't summon, you know? I can't summon. The end credits was so good, yes. I hate Mai. She's a grandma preying on that poor boy. Oh. No, it was cute. It was cute. I give, for me, and this is just personal things, I'd rate Daima very high. But I'm not going to rate Z and Ball low at all either. Like they're still rated high. Dragon Ball is still, as a franchise, is still very highly appreciated in my heart. So Daima is probably my most favorite. Let's see. So I don't want to drop a rotation. Daima was a great experience. I love the adventure. I loved all of that stuff. And yeah, you know, I know Glorio. I know my demon prince is there. But there might be an LR of him, so I'm gonna wait for that. Let's see. Okay. If it was 40 eps or the pacing was better? Potentially. Could you imagine Daima going for that long? That was the most notable thing. Hey, he might have an entrance animation. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll think about summoning a little bit because I want Glorio. And all the units on there are characters I don't have. I have genuinely considered that. Why did they turn Goma into that instead of making his magic stronger? I don't know. You know? I don't know. But yeah, we might do one small rotation for Dokkan. We'll see. We'll see. Now, let me get into the finale. And overall, my point. After going through all these episodes, I'll give my final thoughts on Daima. This feels like what Toriyama would have done if GT was in his hands. He turned them into kids. We got SS4 traveling through uniquely designed worlds and landscapes with different characters to gather Dragon Balls. I think that this is what he would have wanted to do. Toriyama probably would have done essentially a Daima, go through the demon world, go through the past of different characters, and I liked that. I liked that being fleshed out. This had the humor of Dragon Ball with the awesome transformations of Z and the absolutely beautiful animations that we have come to love from Dragon Ball. And that's why I love Daima. That's why I absolutely adore Daima. It had everything that I loved out of all the Dragon Balls that I could go for. And this is where it comes to my final point. I don't think we all have to like an entry in Dragon Ball. That's what's beautiful about Dragon Ball. I made this point earlier, but the whole concept of the comic book characters being put in different worlds, it's very similar in Dragon Ball. You have your same cast of characters with a couple new ones, Goku being a new, and then you have your consistent Goku, your Vegeta, your characters that you know, but each entry feels different. Each entry can be geared towards a different individual. And that's what's so great about it. Every single part, every single entry in this franchise has something for everyone and is structured differently for everyone. I don't think we should hate Daima. I think we should appreciate how every entry in Dragon Ball can be done for someone. It's so widespread that I guarantee you could find someone who enjoys at least one entry of Dragon Ball. And that's why sometimes some shows aren't just made for an individual. It has Dragon Ball on it. It does. It has the information that we would expect on it. It does. It has the Dragon Ball logo on it, but that doesn't mean that it was made with Z in mind. That doesn't mean it was made with Dragon Ball in mind. That doesn't mean it was made with GT in mind. That doesn't mean it was made with Super in mind. Ow, my toe. It means that it was made with Daima in mind. Now, let me give you guys an example of the best way this could be used, like genuinely. Imagine if you're in your 30s, you have a kid, you just had a kid, your life just settled down and you grew, or in your 40s, something like that. Imagine you're older and you just had a kid recently. That kid's like 8 years old and you grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. You want to show your child Dragon Ball, and so, you know, a big part of your life, give them that bit of culture, pass that on to them. But, you know, Z might be a little too aggressive. They might not find Z entertaining because there's not, you know, some digestible interest in it, in that format. You have Daima. You can sit down and you can show that kid Daima. Because Z might have too much action for them. They might not like it. You know, there's no fun. It might be something, because I guarantee some kids might look at Z and just be like, this is cool. But then they probably will end up getting a little tired after a while. Instead, we have Daima, which has the humor, Goku being like, I'm hungry every 5 minutes. You have these things that make kids go, ha ha ha. And that's what this is. This is a great show that you can put down with your kid. And then just watch it. It's familiar enough for you. It's familiar enough for you. And it's a really great way to introduce it to a kid. And again, that's why I think Dragon Ball is beautiful. There has been a entry created for everybody. Everybody. I believe the producers straight out said that Daima was meant so Dragon Ball fans could get their kids into Dragon Ball. Oh, I didn't see that one. If that's the case, Goku was training for SS4. He was able to turn into it because of power boosts. It could have been. Rather show them OG Dragon Ball. And that's, again, that's another choice. You know, kids might have different tastes. You might have a kid who wants more humor, journey, adventure. Bam. You might have a kid who wants more, a bit more serious. Bam, Dragon Ball. Rated out of 10. 9.5 out of 10 for me with Daima. I don't give 10 out of 10s easily, because that means that there's absolute perfection, and there's some stuff that I would say are like problems with Daima. Again, I wasn't a big fan of the ending. It felt like a Spirit Sword Trunks, which is a huge like bonk from me. Wait, do I have a pen here? Oops. Turn on pen. There we go. But yes, nothing is perfect, And that's why I don't give a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 is perfect to me. Sometimes it's best to go into something else expecting it's different and not itself. Expectation of Daima being a sequel to Z or a prequel to Super can be valid, but it hurts it. I do agree with that. You can't go into Daima with an expectation it'll be just like Z or Super. It's your favorite scene. Mine is Ku and Du going to the store together. It's cute. Dude, mine is Glorio and again his friends. I started crying during that. That was easily my favorite scene. Tiny more room. Daima could have used 4 more episodes. 4 out of 10. I mean, I have seen a little bit, Kajoka, that you're not a big fan of it because of the plot holes and all that stuff, and that's perfectly fine. I saw that you were giving your point very respectfully and maturely, which is why I'm really happy about that. Can't wait for him to dub it. I'm telling y'all, everyone's going to like pee their pants the moment that that he goes Super Saiyan 4. Let's be honest. When that one comes out, that clip is going to go viral for a moment. I give Daima 7.5 to 8. If it has a little more episodes, it would be 9. I understand that. Having a bit more episodes would give it a bit more time to flesh things out and really develop it. And again, this is probably more of my thing. And just kind of how I felt overall. Because I was a huge fan of Daima. You know, I'll even admit, I wasn't sure I was going to like Daima. And I was originally going to wait for, what's it called? I was originally going to wait for, shoot. I can't remember what I was going to say. I was originally going to wait for EN dub, but I feel like I had to jump on this and start watching Daima, so I wouldn't get spoiled by Dokkan and DBL. I might take some time to watch the EN dub. What's my opinion on SS4 to GT? Daima's gorilla wrists and gearing Goku's behavior way more to a grade 8. So I like GT purely by design more because I think the black hair and the red contrast better. When you kind of put pure red, it kind of blended together a bit too much for me. It makes sense because he's an 8, right? His hair color should be the same as the fur color, but at the same time, like the standard, like those pants that he has with the blue belt and like the chest showing and black hair, this is not meant to be weird. Was my favorite. I like that. Past when doing SSJ3 for the first time. I like sub more than dub more since when Super came out, only a sub came out. Yeah, a lot of people got introduced to the sub with what's it called, Super, because a lot of people wanted to watch and go into Super and all that stuff almost immediately instead of having to wait for a dub, which makes sense. So yes, those are my overall thoughts on Daima and the entire reason why I structured this entire conversation. Like I said, normally I play games, normally I do some like a little bit of reactions and like, you know, cry at video games and read story, but this is probably the first time I actually wanted to sit down and review a show. And I'm a streamer, I'm not a video essayist, or else this would have been great. Likes bare-chested hairy guy. Nope. Alright, y'all, thanks for watching this entire long spiel that I had. I appreciate you sitting through my nearly 2 hours of conversation with Daima. Truly, thank you guys. Thank you. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. And I know that my points weren't perfectly presented, but I absolutely adore doing this. I absolutely adore doing this. So thank y'all. Thank y'all for sitting down and watching this with me. I usually have like an hour or so left when I do some extra streaming content, so I might sit down. I might sit down and play some Dokkan. I'm not sure if I want to go live again and play a little bit of Dokkan. But yes, thank y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. I hope that you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed Daima. As much as I enjoyed Daima. A huge love for Daima. And I'm so excited for any Daima content that we're going to be getting. Banners or go away. Decide quickly. I'll think about it. Let me think. Good investment presentation. 10 out of 10. Thank you. I did. I had a great time. Thank you. Thank you. And thank y'all. I want to say once more, I said it throughout the stream, but thank y'all for sitting down and conversing about Daima with me so maturely. Truly, thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I could not be more blessed to have so many individuals in chat watching this and being so mature about this conversation. Genuinely. Thank y'all. And to any VOD watchers too, I hope that you enjoyed the overall thing too as well. Loved hearing opinions. I liked how you were honest. Thank you, Stan. Thank you, thank you. I try my best to be as honest about how much I like things. Like, I won't lie, if I didn't like Daima, I would come in here saying I didn't like Daima. But I really did like it. I really did. Because I was a bigger fan. I read the manga, so I actually got more of a Japanese experience. It was when I watched the Broly movie I started first understanding how different Z was from the Japanese releases. Because manga is more like Japanese release. It's more weeaboo, and I'm a weeaboo. So, yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed this. And like I was saying, for any VOD watchers, I hope you enjoy this too. Let me know how you feel in the comments. I might turn it into videos so it's a bit shorter, but I'm also going to put timestamps on this so people can easily see where my general arguments are for the show. Just let me know what you guys think in the comments. That's it. And honestly, that's all. Yeah. Did I enjoy talking about the Daima world? I did. I did. And I'm going to nerd out now whenever Daima comes on the screen. Breaking the stereotype that DB fans don't watch shows. What I really... Wait, you're saying they don't? What I really enjoy is that even from the start, people already kind of caught on to what I was talking about. I specifically said DBZ fans and not like just Dragon Ball as a whole. The Z part is the most important part for this title. So I actually really enjoyed that. And I did love talking about Daima. I did love sitting down with it. Y'all, I'm probably going to have to start playing DBZ Kakarot because apparently there's going to be a Daima section to it. So I'm going to have to probably do that and stuff like that. All right, y'all. So I'm going to get up. I might do something for a short bit and then might stream for an hour. A little bit of Dokkan, summon on the Daima banner. We'll see. We'll see. Most of the arguments are on YouTube Shorts. Really? I feel like Shorts aren't a good way to really present your full point, but then again, they probably are able to construct things really quickly. But yeah, again, want to thank you guys for being here, as you guys are the best part of every single stream. I'm glad you guys presented these so maturely, and I love that. So thank you all, and stay tuned for potentially a little bit of coconut. All right, y'all. Take care, and bye.